to this understanding, this concept, okay? We're constantly being willed something from nothing, and that will, that activating force, okay, every creature is actually considered not an absolute nothingness in relationship to the activating force, okay? The reason that all things, I'm continuing on, the reason that all things created and activated appear to us as existing and tangible is that we do not comprehend nor see with our physical eyes the power of God and, quote unquote, the breath of his mouth, which is in the created thing. Okay? In other words, we're not really experiencing that statement of God of, right? Let there be Penina. Okay? Or whoever. Okay? We're not seeing that. If we were to see it, we would go out of existence. We would become nullified because it would be so bright. Okay? So that's the reason why, as he's saying, that everything seems to have a separate existence, is because we can't see it. Okay? And we're going to talk about that in a minute. If, however, I'm going on, the eye were permitted to see and to comprehend the life force and spirituality which is in every created thing, flowing into it from that which proceeds out of the mouth of God, and, quote unquote, his breath, then the materiality, grossness, and tangibility of the creature would not be seen by our eyes at all. For it is completely nullified in relationship to the life force and spirituality which is within it, since without the spirituality, it would be not an absolute nothingness, exactly as before the 6 days of creation. Okay? So if we were to become aware of those letters of creation that are constantly giving every single thing its animation, every single moment. Okay? And he's going to give you a parable right now. Okay? But the rule is we are experiencing an existence right here and now. And the whole reason we are experiencing ourselves as being separate bodies and all of this world and every single thing that's in it is because we can't see it. We can't comprehend those statements of creation. The spirituality which flows into it from that which proceeds out of the mouth of God and his breath, that alone continuously brings it forth from naught and nullity into being and gives it its existence. Hence, there is nothing, truly nothing besides him. And he's going to explain it right now. Here's the illustration. Once we get the illustration, it'll become clear. Okay? Thanks for your patience, because it's kind of, whoa. First he gives you like the rule, and then he's going to give you something to help us understand the rule. An illustration of this is the light of the sun, which illuminates the earth and its inhabitants. So this illumination is the radiance and the light which spreads forth from the body of the sun and is visible to all as it gives light to the earth and the expanse of the universe. Okay? So we have the light of the sun and you have the rays of the light of the sun. Okay? So the light of the sun is how many miles away? The sun is how many miles? The body of the sun?
93 million.
Thank you. 93 million miles. Okay? And yet now it is self-evident that this light and radiance is also present in the very body and matter of the sun globe itself in the sky. Okay? So we'll definitely say, since we can experience, and I remember as a child that the light, the rays, sunlight, the rays would come in through, I guess, things, and I'd see all the dust floating, in the air because it would shine so perfectly, and you could be aware, like, gosh, is that all over the place? This stuff, couldn't see it until the rays came in. So you have what's called rays of sunlight, and then you'll have the body of the sun. And if you take those rays, obviously their source is the body of the sun. So if you take the ray of sunlight 93 million miles away and put it back, all the way back into the sun, right? Obviously we say that ray of sunlight doesn't exist, you can't experience it as a ray of sunlight anymore because you're like, hey, I'm sure everybody is familiar with holding a candle to the sun, right? If you go out there and you're trying to get some light and you hold a candle and this will help in the middle of the day, it's obviously, people will say that you are crazy, okay? Right? So, because, well, hello, it's daytime. What are you offering? What light is this offering, okay? But here, let's just take the ray of sunlight all the way back to the body of the sun. That ray of sunlight does not exist. Would you agree or not agree? It's nullified.
Right.
It exists in maybe a potential only after it's left the body of the sun. But when it's in the body of the sun is so bright, come on. Okay, it's the source. It's the source. Okay? For if it can spread forth and shine to such a great distance, then certainly it can shed light in its own place. In other words, the body of the sun, we see it extends to the entire universe, the entire solar system and beyond, right? And even in the dark, you really don't know it unless there's something that's traveling in space, and the sunlight hits it, and then you'll see a reflection, the moon, or any other object floating in space. Then you'll see, okay, there's sunlight out there too. It's shining everywhere. And definitely shining on this earth, okay? But definitely, for sure, it shines in its own place, okay? However, there, in its own place, this radiance is considered not and complete nothingness. Why? For it is absolutely non-existent in relation to the body of the sun globe, which is the source of this light and radiance. Inasmuch as this radiance and light is merely the illumination which shines from the body of the sun globe itself. Okay? So this comes out of it, but inside it's gone. It is only in the space of the universe, like we're talking about, under the heavens and on the earth, where the body of the sun globe is not present, that this light and radiance appears to the eye to have actual existence. And here, the term yesh, which we call existence, there is, can truly be applied to it. Okay, so let's get this parable now. Imagery here, set up. Light of the sun, rays of the sun. Rays of the sun, when they leave the sun, it seems to be they're enjoying an existence. This is a ray of sunlight coming through the window. Wonderful. But if you would take that ray of sunlight into its source, it's gone. Okay? You cannot distinguish it. It's nullified in the body of the sun globe. Okay? That is the idea here, and now we're going to more apply it in step 2 now, into our own existence and creation. Okay? Turn the page. Okay? Okay, yeah, I think it's the next page. On page 295 you should have. Whereas, when that ray of sunlight, when it is in its source, in the body of the sun, the term yesh, existence, cannot be applied to it at all, and it can only be called not in non-existence. There, it is indeed not an absolute non-existent, for there only its source, for there only its source, which is the body of the sun, gives light, and there is nothing besides it. Okay, it's too bright. Okay, so now let's get into what that's compared to. So we got the imagery, sunlight, body of sun, and ray. The exact parallel to this illustration is the relationship between all created things and the divine flow of the life force, which is from the breath of his mouth, quote unquote, which flows upon them and brings them into existence. Okay? So this is the exact parallel. Okay? So how does he do it? We have our divine flow, the life force, the breath of his mouth, which is bringing every single thing into an existence. God is their source, because he was the one who made these 10 utterances. And they themselves, meaning the divine flow, or we'll call it the life force, the breath of his mouth, are merely like a diffusing light and effulgence from the flow and spirit of God, which issues forth and becomes clothed in them, meaning the creations, and brings them from naught into being. In other words, from the essence of God, we'll look at God as being the source. He made an utterance, That utterance leaves, so to speak, like let's look at it like the sun for now, the imagery of the sun, leaves the source, and then of course when it leaves the source, then we see that it develops through the letters and the words of the 10 statements in creation, develops that created thing, us, the universe, the world. Okay? Hence, their existence, really, meaning the existence of every single thing in creation, is nullified in relation to their source, just as the light of the sun is nullified and considered naught and complete nothingness, and is not even referred to as existing at all when it is in its source. Okay? Only beneath the heavens, like the ray of the sun, where its source is not present, can it be called quote-unquote existing. Okay? And there's an obvious question for anybody with any thought. Is the AC on, or is it just like faking it? Okay?
It's on.
It is on. Okay. So here we have the comparing the light of the sun and the rays to existence and the things. Let's just look at simply this pen. Okay? The pen. Okay? God wills this pen into existence, right? So when this pen, so to speak, that God uttered that through all of these letters, because really, if I would look at here and I'd be able to take apart this pen into its raw spiritual form, it would be ayin taf, 8. Okay? That's a pen in Hebrew. Okay? Okay? All right? But of course, we can't experience it directly. Okay? So it has to go through a whole bunch of permutations, and be hidden, to be concealed in order to enjoy its existence. If, however, we would become, and we would see the source of where this comes from, so we wouldn't even see a pen anymore. Okay? If we would see the life force of this pen, the will of God that's causing this thing to exist, we wouldn't even see a pen anymore. Okay? So he compares it to the light, the rays of the light of the sun. Except there's a big difference. Okay? But let's just look at it for right now. Hashem makes an utterance. Everything goes into existence. Okay? But the idea here really is, in its source, do we really exist? In the source. Let's say we are considered to be rays of the sun. Okay? Uttered from God's divine breath. Every single thing. In the source, just like the light, just like the body of the sun, we would say to be non-existent, wouldn't you? According to the formula that he's saying right now. Okay? Yeah.
So you're saying like the sun, like God is like the sun, and then the rays are like his utterance, and then
which on the utterance extends to making an existence.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
I have a question.
Okay? Yes.
Our existence supposedly is continuous. I mean, he didn't just say it and we exist. It continually goes on.
Like we said last week, yes.
Yeah. So my question is, if we don't work on Shabbos, how is he continuing our existence if it's always
So you're talking about Shabbos.
Yeah, it's always been my
Like
question.
Shabbos, like we're closed, so therefore nothing should exist anymore, right? It's a good question, but because he willed Shabbos into existence, it has a Shabbos mode.
Yes.
Creation has a Shabbos mode. Okay? So everything goes into Shabbos mode. Okay? It exists in Shabbos mode. Okay? Okay?
So like an oven, right?
You're in Shabbos mode. So the pity is the people who go against the Shabbos mode. Okay? That's the pity. Okay? You got to keep in the Shabbos mode.
But I have a question. So, okay, if we or the light exists away from the sun or Hashem, respectively, whenever the light or we go back to that source, is it not? I mean, you're saying that we stop to exist, but is it that we really stop to exist, or we just become one with the source?
Nullified. We become one. Let's look at nullified.
That's different from not existing. It's like becoming one. With
His language is. He goes the quote unquote not existing.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like it's as if we don't exist because the source is so great.
Yes.
The light of the infinite is so great, so it's as if we don't have an existence.
Yes. Of course. Yeah. You know
But we'll call it bittul,
Yeah.
Call it what?
nullification. The ray of sunlight exists in the body of the sun. It's there in potential form. It just, you can't distinguish it because it's completely nullified in the body.
Over to the source.
Yeah.
It's the source. In the source, there is no ray.
It's become the source.
Yeah.
The source has
Does it
become
make the sun stronger then? If the ray goes back?
Well, we're not taking the ring going back. We're just kind of like walking on the ray 93 million miles going, oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, what,
Okay.
You know the joke, what did the guru say to the hot dog vendor?
What?
Make me one with everything.
I like that.
So, okay, thank you. All right. Right, so his language here is She'ein sham makor kach kol habruim ein nofel alehem shem. So you would say that you wouldn't be able to give a name there in the sun to this separate existence, okay? Ela le'ene basar shalano. Wait a minute, I'm skipping a place here. Okay. Only beneath the heavens, where its source is not present, can it be called existing. Okay? In the source, which is the Ein Sof, which is the light of the infinite, God, complete unlimitation, right? We can't say that there is some kind of separate existence. Okay? Only when it leaves the source can there be an experience of a separate existence. Okay? So in the same manner, the term yesh, existence, now look how he quotes existence, can be applied to all created things only as they appear to our corporeal eyes. For we do not see nor comprehend at all the source, which is the Spirit of God that brings them into existence. We can't see it, that life force that's constantly giving us our animation, right? And if we could, we wouldn't see ourselves the same way anymore. Okay? But while we are it's somewhat obscured to us, the source, in whatever way we'll call, and we're going to get into that in later chapters. Okay? So then we are, let's say, like the ray of sunlight that left the sun, and we seem to be enjoying a separate existence and every single thing that's going on. Okay? Therefore, it appears to our eyes that the materiality, grossness, and tangibility of the created things actually exist, just as the light of the sun appears to have actual existence when it is not within its source. Okay? So that's step 2. We got the idea. The idea really that he's talking about is nullification in the source. Okay? That the created beings are always being constantly animated through what's called the life force, which is the breath, God's utterance. Okay? And we have the idea of the body of the sun versus the ray of the sunlight. Now we know that in its source, it will not have an independent existence. Okay? Until it leaves the source. Okay? But there's a huge difference. This is where he drops the bomb. Okay? And it's so mind-blowing. Okay? Because what's the difference? What's the difference? The difference is we can understand the sun. It's 93 million miles away, right? Mm-hmm. And the ray of sunlight comes and it travels and it takes how many days to get here?
8 minutes.
Thank you. That's
8 minutes.
Boy, what took you so long? Okay. So, 8 minutes to get here, that ray of light.
How do you know 8 minutes?
It works out that way. You do the math.
He's if you figure light travels at 80,000 miles a second, it's 93 million miles.
You know 93 million miles, you measure it?
93 million miles. Well, you just do the math.
Okay.
If light travels at 186,000 miles a second, and it needs to travel 93 million miles, so that's 8 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, and the response is, what took you so long? What took the ray so long? You're talking to the ray. Okay? But what's the big difference? The huge difference, and this is the bomb.
God is here.
Right!
Oi.
There's no such... It's not like God is 93 million miles away.
No, he's not. He's closer.
He's right here.
He's closer than you think.
So then how can it possibly be? Then according to the formula that we've been discussing here, we shouldn't be existing. Okay? Because we already are in our source. We are the ray of sunlight that is in the globe of the body of the sun. Right now.
We are part of the earth.
I hate to peel off the mask of matter so abruptly. Okay?
What?
I hate to do it, but this is what we're here to figure out. Okay? The idea is God is all there is, and there is nothing else other than Ein Sof. Okay? And the source is right here. And you are in the source, right here, right now. You are the ray of sunlight in the globe. And yet somehow, some way, right?
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, right? We are experiencing something, okay? And I asked my dad this, and I go, well, if God is all there is, because that's all my father talks about. If God is really all there is, and all there is God, and we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad twice a day, right? And Echad means He's all there is, and you have to carry that thought with you all day and all night, right? So then, what are we doing here? How can we seem to be enjoying the existence of this?
He wants us.
It's not like the movie projector and then the film and then it projects it onto a screen. It's the screen, the projector are all one. You're in the projector. Where are you? Where are we? What are we? Okay. So the Halakha master, let's just read his words and then okay. We'll just read through what I just told you now. But in the following, the illustration is apparently not completely identical with the object of comparison. Why? For in the illustration, the source, which is the sun, is not present at all in the space of the universe and upon the earth, where its light is seen as actually existing. Whereas all created things are always within their source. You should underline that and stick it on your fridge. All created beings, all created things are always within their source. Because why? There's no spot where God is not. God is everywhere. Okay? And it is only that the source is not visible to our physical eyes. If so, why are they not nullified in their source? Why are we not nullified? Why am I not experiencing right here and now that ray of sunlight in the globe of the sun, right? Even though really in reality it is happening. In a certain sense you are, okay? To understand this, some prefatory remarks are necessary. Now just to go a little bit, there was a great concept the Baal Shem Tov brings down. This will help a lot of people. I speak this a lot of times, and you know, hopefully, eventually, if I speak it enough times, people will understand it and be able to practice it. Do you know there is a great custom that people do when they lift the Torah in the synagogue? What do people do?
They point to it.
Like this?
Well, I don't. Because I never quite got this.
Aha! Great.
Yeah.
If you don't have a tallis and you can do the circle like the Sephardim do, and they're trying to really see the letters. The men who are closer to the Sefer Torah, when they lift the Sefer Torah and they do Haggadah, they're trying to see the letters of their name somewhere in the parsha, and they only got like 3.4 seconds to do it because the guy's flipping around and he close.
I understand the idea that
Okay, and the poor women are like, if you got a microscope, maybe you can get it. But other than that, most people in the Ashkenaz synagogues do this.
Yeah, I mean, I get the idea you're not supposed to point like this. That has something negative.
Okay, so I was asking that. I asked that a long time ago. I'm like, what is this about, right? Really, I never saw anybody with an explanation. I never heard anybody, a rabbi, come up with an explanation for where this came from, except for, well, it's not polite to point. Okay,
Right.
but, and I don't know. I don't know. There is nothing written. I'm offering you right now, tonight, okay, somehow to use this custom for something that we are experiencing, that we are learning about right here and now, okay? Actually, it comes from the Baal Shem Tov.
Okay.
A lot of the rabbis, all the holy rabbis all over, use this all the time, okay? And it speaks about how the light of Torah, and there's a Gemara that says it actually does this calculation. It actually asks the Torah scroll in relationship to the world. You know, they do these kind of things. They just want to blow your mind, okay? And they just like, they go, what's the relationship, what's the ratio of the world to the Torah? In other words, how much bigger is the Torah, the light of the Torah, compared to the world? And they go, a zeret. Okay? The answer is a zeret. Now, a zeret, literally in Hebrew terms, is called a span. Okay?
Yeah.
Usually that's an amma. So a span, I think they use is like a...
This?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think a span is this, right?
Okay.
So, but also the word zeret means pinky.
Oh.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Every finger has a name. Did you know that?
Mhm.
I did not know.
In Hebrew, every finger has a name. Okay?
How do you spell Sarah?
Zayin, Reish, Taf. So in any case, so they ask, what's the ratio? The Torah scroll is way bigger than the universe, because God looked into the Torah and made the world. And you got to work with me here, because what the heck are you talking about dimensions now? Okay, but let's work with me here. What's the relationship, the ratio of the world to the Sefer Torah? And it's a zeret. In other words, the world is a zeret, one finger, compared to the greatness. The Torah is 32 or 3,200 times greater than the world. It has a number.
Yeah.
Weird calculation, doesn't make any sense. Well, let's just work with me here, okay? Just to go to this idea here, that the Baal Shem Tov says, how come we can't experience the light of God, the light of the Torah, and really the light of the holy tzaddikim, who are constantly flooding into existence lofty ideas, how to connect to God, and how to become an inspired Jew? How come we're not witnessing it right now? So the Baal Shem Tov explains that if you could be standing in front of a huge mountain, and you take one little coin, he used a coin, and you put it in front of your eye, you're going to block that mountain. You're not going to see the mountain. Even though the mountain is how many times greater than the coin. The problem is the coin is in your eye. It's in your eye. Okay? So the coin, which is very, very small, blocks something which could be very, very big because it's in your eye. Okay? So the idea really is the physicality of this world blocks. It has a major blockage for the real light that we can access to right here and now. That is right here, because don't forget, we are the ray in the sun. Okay? Okay, just 1 second. So the problem is the physicality of this world, when it's in front of our eyes, it's going to block our access. Now, just to finish the thought here. And the reason, so do you get this concept? That really there's great, tremendous light that is available to us right here and now. Great, tremendous concepts are available to us right here and now. Great, tremendous connection is available to us right here and now. The problem is the physicality blocks our eyes. That's why we cover our eyes when we say the Shema. Okay? The beautiful maiden who has no eyes. Okay? Because the light of the world is a tremendous distraction. And that's why I say, when we do lift the Sefer Torah, so what do I do to remind myself of this? That the Torah, the light of the Torah, the light of the holy, righteous tzaddikim, right, are so much greater and so available to us. And we're like the ray of light that is in the body of the sun. But to remind myself when they lift the Torah, and if I, that I put this in front of my eye to block it just for a moment, the Sefer Torah, right? That to know that really the Sefer Torah is so much greater than this. And this represents the physical world. And the Sefer Torah is so much greater than the physical world, right? So I do this just for a moment to block the Sefer Torah, right? Just to remind myself the difference between this world and the light of the Torah. But then, of course, as everybody does at the end, we kiss our pinky. Well, you do it 3 times. My grandmother did it once. And her bubby also did it once. I'm just kidding.
I don't know why.
My Auntie Rosie would kiss the mezuzah 3 times.
I look for,
okay?
I try to visualize a letter of my name in Torah. And
that's good. That's awesome. The idea really is to constantly remind ourselves that what we are experiencing in this world is so small. And you have to understand that it's blocking us from tremendous, tremendous light. Okay? Meanwhile, we still have to figure out the pinky. In other words, his question that he's saying right here. The question that he's saying right here, okay, I got this. Ray of light, away from the sun, it has an existence. But when it's in the sun, you can't find it. You're not going to find it. It doesn't have an independent existence. It's nullified in such great light. And us, we're just very much like the ray of sunlight that somehow has left the divine breath of God, somehow in some way, but yet it's not comparable to the ray to the globe of the sun, because why? God is everywhere. And if God is everywhere, then how come we are existing? We should be nullified. And in a certain reality, we are nullified in the source right here now, because all of creation is constantly connected to the source. Okay? Do we have the question? We got the question? Yes. We shouldn't be existing right here now, according to the rules. Okay? But we are. Okay? So what's going on? Okay? So let's go chapter 4. Okay? It is written. I don't know if we'll get to the answer by today, but we're gonna get where we get. Okay? Right, Perek Dalet. Ki hine kasiv ki shemesh umagen Hashem Elokim. This is a classic phrase. This is from Tehillim, right? Pei Dalet. It has 4 words. Shemesh umagen. For a sun and a shield is Havaya Elokim. Havaya is the name we call Yud Kei Vav Kei. We switch the letters around because we're not allowed to pronounce Yud Kei Vav Kei as it is written. But all the holy books, in order to say it and that we have an understanding of what we're saying, it's one of those jargon terms. As we switch the letter, we take the Yud, right, and we put it in the middle of the name, and we call it Hey, Vav, Yud, and Hey. It's called Havaya. And we know every time we say the name Havaya, and we're mentioning that, we're referencing the real Yud Kei Vav Kei as it actually is. So that's why it's written here Havaya. So it says, for a sun and a shield is Havaya Elokim. Elokim is another name for God. Okay? It means Hakol Yachol, everything he can do. There's nothing he cannot do. Hakol Yachol, Baal HaYacholet. He's able to do anything, and he's the master of all forces. So the explanation of this verse is as follows. Shield is a covering for the sun to protect the creatures.
Sorry.
Can you get another song? How about New York? Give us New York. Start spreading the news.
I like that.
Come on, I like that one too. Okay. Shield is a covering for the sun to protect the creatures so that they should be able to bear its heat. I don't know if they understood what Houston is about. Okay? As our sages of blessed memory have said, in the time to come, the Holy One, blessed be He, will take out the sun from its sheath. The wicked will be punished by it, and the rest of the phrase is that the righteous will be healed by it. Okay? God, in the end of days, will take the sheath off the sun. I didn't know the sun had a sheath, right? I don't think it's the ozone layer, because that's around the earth, okay? But you never know. Okay?
Something.
The idea really is God will be revealed at that time. Okay? And the wicked will be burned by it, and the righteous will be healed by it. There's an interesting little dynamic you have to
Oh my
understand.
gosh.
Is that how does that? Did I say wrong?
No.
The righteous will be healed.
Yeah.
The wicked will be burned. Right? How does that work, Rabbi? Well, it kind of works like the same way, kind of like the sun. That, the sun basically burns everything external and at the beginning. Okay? You get a suntan before you overheat inside. Okay? The wicked people, their whole essence is based on external. How they look, what car they drive, what kind of house they live in, right? Who they hang around with, right? But with most of their existence, they would say it was more external, not internal. The righteous people, right? The holy Jewish people, they're righteous. They know inside is really what counts. Being a mensch. Right? That's really what. And now everybody's got problems. Even, righteous people, they all have habits, bad perceptions, right? Negative character traits. But something, it's not really their essence. And they all know it's not really their essence of really who they are. The people who identify who they really are know that they have a divine soul inside that is really holy and very righteous and very pure. Elokai, Neshama, Shinasata Bi Tahorai. God, the soul that you've given inside of me is pure. And they might have habits, but those habits are external. So when the sun comes and burns, it's only going to burn what's on the outside. So the the wicked people, their whole essence is their outside, their external parts of themselves. That burns, that's their essence. They burn. Because their essence is on external. The righteous, on the other hand, it's the best thing. To burn off all the bad habits and all the junk, right? All the negativity.
Wow.
It's such a healing. Thank you, God. Right? For taking care of that. For me shedding the external parts of myself so I can really be who I truly am. That's how the Shemi Shmuel explains that Chazal. But in any case, for our concept that we're learning here, right? That we see that there's a shield and then there's a sun. Okay? Now, just as the covering conceals the sun, just as the covering conceals the sun, so does the name Elohim shield and conceal the name of Havaya, blessed be He. So that's, if you look in the phrase, for a look at it says how does it go? For a sun and a shield is the name of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei Elohim. Here, let me write it out for you. It says here, let's hope this pen works. Let's
That's
take
what I
bets.
have to-
Take bets.
Yes.
Sun, right?
I could have made a lot of money.
Right? So you have sun, and then you have the shield of the sun. Did I spell it right? Is it
Yeah,
I
that's
after
right.
E
That's
instead
right.
of after C?
I-E-L-P.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for a sun and a shield is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. We'll say Havaya Elohim. That's how the phrase goes. For a sun and a shield equals this. Havaya Elohim. Meaning Elohim is the shield for this name. Okay? Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, and many times in the Tikkun Zohar brings down their other names, which seemingly shield or buffer, filter, tone down the great light of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei is like pure light. Okay? They say in the end of days, the Mashiach, Messiah, will be able to eliminate armies with a name. Okay? Whole armies with a name. Okay? That name is the name of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Okay? That it's so bright, that it's so powerful. So that's what causes that, of course, though after you have to put the sword back in the shield, which is, we can call it Elohim. The Zohar, the Tikkun Zohar calls it Adonut, Aleph Dalet. Okay? It's also called the sheath of the sword. So that's just another imagery to have. Okay? Go on just a little bit more. So the meaning of the name Havaya, this is tremendous, and you should always meditate on this every time you're making a blessing. Every time you're thinking of the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Here you go. The meaning of the name Havaya is that which brings everything into existence, ex nihilo, which means yesh mi'ayin, something from nothing. Okay, because the prefix, he says, is Yud, in front of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Added to the stem, which is Hey Vav Hey, Haveh, modifies the verb, indicating that the action is present and continuous. As Rashi comments on the verse, okay, which is the verse here that he brings down. Yeah. In this manner does Eov Yaaseh do all his days. Which means Yaaseh, which means he constantly does. So just like we have the word, a Yud, in front of the word Haveh, which means existence. So, i.e., in essence, the life force which flows at every instant into all things created from that which proceeds out of the mouth of God and his breath and brings them into existence, something from nothing, yesh mi'ayin, at every moment. Okay? For the fact that they were created beings, for the fact that they were created during the 6 days of creation is not sufficient for their continued existence as explained above. So the word Yud Kei Vav Kei means, really, the way I always understand it, in a deep sense, I got this actually from a book called Illusions by Richard Bach a long time ago, how he referred to God as the is. But here it would more like be a form of let's say, like ising, like a verb, because it brings something into existence, something from nothing. Hence the yesh mi'ayin, right? He is constantly ising existence. Okay? So the word Yud Kei Vav Kei, when you mention it and you meditate on it, actually there's two real ideas, just the basic halacha. That when you make a blessing, you have to contemplate. When you say Baruch Atah Hashem, because we pronounce it Aleph Daled. Aleph Daled, we have to think one concept, which is Adon Hakol, master over everything. And you have to stop and do this. You have to meditate on this. Don't worry about where they are in synagogue, okay? Because you will not be able to catch up to them, even if you can do this real fast. Okay? Yeah. And so that's Adon Hakol, master over everything. And then the word, as usually they tell you in halacha, is Haya. The word Yud Kei Vav Kei spells out three words. Haya Hoveh V'yiyeh, which is, was, is, and will be. A kind of like eternity. Okay, but even the Leshem goes to explain that it's not really correct, because it's not really, more like, because he doesn't have a past, present, and future. That doesn't exist. Haya Hoveh V'yiyeh means was, is, and will be. That's a time-oriented concept.
That's for us to
and he's
understand.
beyond time.
Right.
That's for us.
Yeah.
It helps us, gives us a handle on it.
Right.
Because we need handles.
Yeah.
But really, in terms of, let's say, getting into the real idea, concept behind Yud Kei Vav Kei is, really, it's Tamid Bahoveh. He's always constant. He's always is, or let's say, he's always ising.
Is okay. Good.
Okay? So Yud Kei Vav Kei means a new idea, concept. Ising. Okay? Don't go calling your kids ising. Okay? Which is like Izzy. Okay? So anyway, we'll stop here. I think what we covered was quite amazing. Okay? Believe me, the past few days I've been walking around thinking, wow, I'm a ray of sunlight that is in the source.
Don't you feel good?
And I do, and it makes me feel good, because I'm like, yeah, bring me to reality, okay? I'm okay with reality, okay? I'm okay with it. Because then, you know something? The things that really happen in this world don't have such heavy meaning as what they used to. In other words, it changed your concept of the usual things that usually would upset me in the past. They don't seem to upset me anymore as much. They still upset me. but they don't crawl into my skin so much. I'm like, okay, all nullified in the source. Let's just be nullified in the source for a moment. Okay? So when we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, we're saying oneness. We become the ray in the source, and we're just here just to experience it for a moment. Also, always contemplate the pinky. You are now members. You are now members of the Pinky Club. I now hereby, right, initiate you. You are now initiated. I had this in San Antonio. Anytime I see a guy in a crowded room, it'll be a party going, we know, because now we know what the pinky is about.
Like this, you go like that.
Okay. Y'all have a great evening.
You too.